Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on well-being by design, how to drive engagement in the workplace. Um, Today, we are very pleased to host two um, well-known, renowned practitioners in experiential learning and experiences, Mr. Maciek and Greg. Maciek and Greg
Hello.
are joining us uh, from Poland. Um, um, and they were very kind to actually be with us today to tell us a little more about well-being in the workplace. And so we understand more about well-being, what's the relationship between well-being and productivity in the workplace, and what makes people, more productive and more efficient and more dedicated and committed to organizations. Um, Magic, he's a philosopher. He has a philosophy of his own. He believes that because the world is changing and the way we communicate change and the way we perceive things are also changing, and our commitment and motivation they also change. And the only thing that is really absolute belief and meaningful is a total focus on people to give a chance to make a real impact. So that's how we make real impact is by focusing on people. Um, his thoughts is that it's not worth trying to change people. People don't usually change out of their own. You have to create the environment that would support their inspiration to change and they motivate them to change. Uh, so when he's planning any development process, he takes into account the current reality and make then extensive use of modern technology in order to make the development something that is feasible and something that is impactful. Of course, he specializes in training in communications. He exercises informal influence, um, effective business presentations, implementing a culture of accountability, and leading through change, as well as leadership and customer service. Of course, he has extensive experience in creating and leading development projects in many organizations in Poland and around the world, such as Samsung, Google, Meta, Deutsche Bank, T-Mobile, and many other organizations. He comes from a prestigious business schools. He's and a graduate from of course, from the School of Business Trainers and the School of Coaches, but also he's a graduate of National Film, Television, and Theater, which is kind of interesting because we have similar passion about television, and I think it changes people's lives, these experiences. Also, he's a certified business coach. Um, uh, Greg uh, also comes from a prestigious business school as a graduate. He's an accomplished global business leader, extensive experience in leading teams and managing projects. Has international experience coupled with strong business expertise across various industries. And he's a pragmatic solution provider to complex business and operation problems. In recent roles, he was a managing director for ICP in Poland. And he's currently a founder at knowitbroker.com, better learn immersive training organizations, I would assume. Um, he focuses on strength and business experience and makes sure to provide participants with practical knowledge and skills tailored to their specific work, which can be implemented immediately after training. So, and that's what actually most training programs are missing is the link between the workshop and the actual workplace and how we implement the learning. He's a certified coach since 2013, a graduate from the School of Business Coaches and School of Coaching and Group Coaching, of course, Trop Group. Um, has a degree in trade management and executive MBA from Warsaw University of Technology Business School and London Business School. So he completed postgraduate studies at Warsaw University of Technology. His experience includes implement organizational culture, optimization of cooperation between teams, train leaders and teams, and prepare managers and trainers to develop and engage employees to take responsibility. As a trainer, he's worked among others for several Fortune 500 organizations, including Google, Meta, and PwC and others as well. As a business partner and trainer, as we said, he specializes in business development, preparing coaches and leaders for better communication and building better teams. Among the things that he develops, training services in foreign markets. Of course, he's more fluent in English than I am, but German and Polish, I would wait until I see. With that in mind, I just want to say a word about the host for today, who's brought us together. Knowledge Group is an Abu Dhabi-based organization, has been in the market for 19 years, specialized in learning development, leadership development, e-learning, as well as talent management, organizational culture, and employee engagement. Knowledge Group is part of the bigger holding company group, Nima Holding, which includes Abu Dhabi University, includes Liwa College, and Knowledge Group also has a permanent office in Saudi Arabia, where they serve the GCC as well as the Middle East region. I think I have taken a lot of time. I think I affected negatively the well-being of the audience. So I'm making your job a little bit more difficult. With that in mind, I would like to thank you again, Magic and Greg, for being with us today. And I look forward, as well as everybody else in the webinar, to hearing from you about the well-being in organizations and how it affects performance and productivity. Oh, to you.
With pleasure. Thank you for the introduction.
Okay, what to expect from our meeting today? So we would like to invite you for a journey in which we show you our approach to well-being and productivity. Then we want to invite you to the world of external and internal motivation. And after this, we'll show you the surprising story which happened on the board of one of American submarine 20 years ago. And then we'll tell you a little bit about accountability and its influence on well-being and productivity. And in the end, we'll tell you a little bit, we'll give you some hints and tips how to implement accountability in a teams. And absolutely in the end, there will be the moment for your Q&A session for questions from your side. That's the plan. But let's start from your experience.
Yeah, we would like to invite you first to share some of your experience and some association with well-being and productivity. We'll ask you kindly to take off your mobile phones and scan the QR code that you will see in the next slide in order to answer 2 anonymous questions. Please scan the QR code that you see here or enter the website menti.com and enter the code below, which is 758-54772. The easiest way is to take off your phone, take the camera, and scan the QR code. And in a moment, we will be presenting you with the question.
Well-being, peace of mind, healthy environment, stress, happy, security, family, recognition, health, Okay. As we probably may notice, this is about something which make us pleasure. We feel comfort when we think about well-being, family, happy. But sometimes appear the word like stress. It may also be connected.
Probably when the well-being is missing, there is stress,
Probably.
or there is a stress
It's
about
right.
well-being.
Healthy environment.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you very much for these answers. And if you would like to keep up your phones and answer just the second question for us, which is, what do you understand as productivity of employee? What is the best association of productivity of employee? If you could type any associated words or slogans, whatever comes to your mind. I will display the QR code again.
Productivity of employee. What is your association with this concept?
We haven't got any replies yet for this question.
Productivity of employee. What is your association when you think about productivity? What do you think? This is just a play.
Performance.
Performance. Okay.
Tangible delivery. Impact. Completing tasks properly. Improving company. Excellent. Impact. Achievements.
Okay.
Getting things done.
Getting things done. Perfect.
Meeting deadline. Okay, we have 11 responses.
Okay, so look, we have two kind of answers. When you think about well-being, this is something positive. When you think about productivity, it's connected with some work, efforts, giving the energy. Those two concepts are like two different words. Let's look for a while on Wikipedia. What Wikipedia writes us about this. Okay, so we have that well-being is connected with happiness, life satisfaction. It's about how we feel about ourselves in our life. Productivity is how well someone manages their tasks, responsibilities, and goals. It's the same. Well-being is positive as a pleasure, is connected with fun, with rest, and productivity is connected with efforts, with work. Two different worlds. So we'd like to go with you through a process in which we will show you that there's combination of those two concepts it's not that only possible, it's not just possible, but combining those two concepts give amazing effect for both, for productivity and for well-being. But to prove this in our webinar, let's focus first on researchers on the market, very famous researchers of two famous psychologists, Ryan and Deci. They were focused on motivation. What is motivation? Motivation is a force driving power which guides us into activity or decision making or behaviors. There are several kinds of motivation in psychology, but we focus today on two key kinds of motivation: external motivation and internal motivation. External motivation is related to impulses which comes from outside of ourselves, and these impulses encourage us to do specific activity. What kinds of external motivation we have? We have reward, we have threat of punishment, and we have also social customs. I will explain in details, but first I wanted to ask Greg, what is your examples of external motivation?
So external motivation can be obviously associated with money, with remuneration, with the reward that I am getting for the job done. But it can be also some custom that someone expects me to do something. It can be also that someone tells me to do something. And let's see how we react on that. Because if someone tells me to do something, it's a different story than if I know it myself that I have to do it.
You're absolutely right. The common example of first common example of external motivation is reward. We do something because we expect the reward. The example, reward may be monetary compensation, or maybe a prize at work, or any bonus. The example, often at work, someone is ready to achieve additional goal if because knows that at the end of the work awaits extra money, for example. Does it work? Of course, sometimes
it works, of course.
Some people may ask, but it depends on price, of course. The next example of external motivation is threat of punishment. I would like to recall the example which happens sometimes in the families, a conversation between father and his son, let's say Peter. And father says, Peter, if you don't do your homework, I will not let you to go to play with your friends. Does it work? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
If father is consequent, then it works. Okay, the third example of external motivation is social custom. Example, some people may do something because they like to do, but some people may do it because they don't like to be judged by the others as, for example, not nice person. And many of us in the morning goes to the office and enter the door of elevator, and you meet the people inside. Usually say good morning. Some of us may say good morning because it's nice. It's nice to have a social relationship in the morning at 7:30 or 6:30 in the morning. But some of us doesn't like it, but they don't want to be judged as a not nice persons, and they say good morning because this is a custom. Works? Works. So as all these examples show us that external motivation is effective, but the challenge is that it's short term. We can imagine the situation that people are able to do something additionally at work with great commitments, but if they receive the reward, commitment decreases immediately. And this is the challenge, because we want in organizations to have people engage all the time for 8 hours, not just for 1 hour, or 30 days in a month, not just 1 week a month. So coming back to the researches of Ryan and Deci, they were focused more on internal motivation. What is internal motivation? Internal motivation is related to the impulses which comes within a person, from inside. So we do something because we want to do that, but not because we expect something for this. Greg.
Yes, Maciek.
You have an example of your internal motivation.
So my internal motivation was always helping people grow. And the reward of seeing them grow is something that it's not material. So you see that, and that what motivates me always when I was a leader, when I was working as a trainer.
Absolutely, satisfaction of helping someone, it may be absolutely the super motivator of internal motivation. Many people are working in a sector of charity and don't get money for that, just have a pleasure because they see that their help works. It's absolutely motivating. My example is I love to take pictures, and I love to take them during the rain because they look fantastic with these drops of rain on a screen when I look at this picture after. But to take this picture, I have to go outside when it's raining. Sometimes even showering. And people, my neighbors may see me on the pavement and just calling me, Maciek, come back, it's raining, you're wet. I say, no, stay away, I love it. I want to take a picture now during the rain. Because I love to take such a pictures, and nobody forced me. And always when it's nice raining weather, I go outside with my camera. And another example of internal motivation is some people have a passion to do something, like I have a passion to take pictures. My neighbors love to do this gardening work. I don't like it. My garden is the wildest in the neighborhood, and but my neighbors comes from their work and immediately enter their gardens, and they do another hard job with all this stuff with the things which are in garden. I always ask them, "Hey, guys, relax. It's time for enjoyment." And they say, "No, this is our enjoyment. I love to work in the garden." So satisfaction from passion may be the pleasure, and it drives us to do something. And another example of internal motivation is some people want to develop, and for example, to learn foreign languages, not because they have to, but they love to speak in local languages when they go for the vacation, for example. And they pay money, they make a lot of efforts to study the language. This is also an example of internal motivation. And the thing is that internal motivation is absolutely long-term. Internal motivation doesn't need any power. The pleasure comes directly for activity itself. So we do something, and this is the pleasure, being in this process. So this is fantastic concept for organization. How to make people being so involved in everyday duties, and how to create such environment to make people such motivated. And it was the main point of researches of Ryan and Deci. They did many researches and many exercises, and in the end, it was a success. They created a self-determination theory, which indicates 3 conditions in which this internal motivation is possible. 3 conditions. First condition is autonomy. Greg, what associates you with autonomy? What is it?
So autonomy means to me that I'm able to do something myself without someone telling me how to do that, without telling me someone when I should do that, and without giving someone giving me precise instructions.
This is, but it's not that you can do whatever you like.
No.
You have an influence on the way you want to achieve it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just perception of autonomy by the employee. And the second condition is competences. Correct.
So in terms of competences, it's not just having competences. What is important is that I have a feeling that I have competences, that someone gives me a feedback or someone gives me a feeling that I have competences. So it can be an appreciation, for example, that someone tells me that I am doing some things in a proper way that will let me be internally motivated to do it myself.
So we do things more willingly when we know that we know how to do it. We are not so happy when we have to do the things which we don't do in the right way. We prefer those we know how to do. And that's why it's so important to ensure people that they're doing well their job. This is a great role of managers to certify people, oh, you did a great job. So the person is sure that it goes in the right way. In next days, willingly will repeat this activity. And the third condition is relations. What it may be, relations.
So I imagine that people feel internally motivated when they feel part of the team. And it's the same for me. If I feel part of the team, I can go extra mile, I can go extra hour, and I can work very hard to achieve my goals. if there are no relations, I feel like an enemy or a very vast competitor, then it will be hard to motivate myself. I will always be looking if someone is trying to outcompete me, or will I be treated as a player to eliminate. This is not something that will motivate me internally.
So it's not about having true friends in a team. It's about having it's about respect and feeling as a member of the team, important
Exactly.
member of the team. If those three conditions meet, then we have a chance for self-determination. Then we have a chance for internal motivation. And internal motivation, it's simply well-being, because you are productive and you have a good feeling about everything you act. So this is important in our approach today. I can imagine that it's not that difficult to achieve the situation in a team that people has respect one to another, and we can organize all this team building stuff, and people start to respect and start to you can feel like a real member of the team. It's quite possible to build a feeling of competences. Great role of the leader. The most difficult is to create this environment which is really autonomy of the people in organization. But we have a very nice example, such environment where people feel they have an influence on the things they are doing.
And this example might surprise you, because it doesn't come from the corporate organization. It doesn't come from any organization that you might know for certain. It comes from the story of David Marquet. The picture of the gentleman that you see is an ex-captain of an American submarine, American Navy, David Marquet, who was invited to be a captain on the submarine Santa Fe, where he didn't know much about the organization itself, and the organization itself was last in the rank. So he received a team that was very demotivated, had a very low morale, had a very low standards of fulfilling routine tasks. So could he work just giving orders and being a direct manager, top-down type of the manager? He couldn't, because in order to achieve productivity, he had to create, as Maciek said, auto-determination, auto-motivation amongst his soldiers. And in order to create well-being on the submarine, can you imagine such an environment where you think about well-being? Almost impossible. But he managed to do that. He had 9 months to convince his bosses that he is a good captain and to prepare the vessel to run into the operations. So his story is showing that he was able to do that within 9 months. He has managed to bring the team from the last rank in the American Navy to the first place. And how did he do it? He did it through empowerment, and he did it through creating an environment where people felt important and they felt valued, and they had autonomy. They had a feeling of competences, and they were building good relations with each other, relations that were not between the boss and the followers, but relations that they created being leader to each other. So what did he do exactly? I will show you some 6 principles that he has written in his book, Turn the Ship Around. And he has also funded an organization, Intent-Based Leadership, in which he describes what you need to do as an organization in order to achieve success. His book, let me come back, his book, Turn the Ship Around, has been a leadership bestseller on Amazon for many years. So primarily, he said that you have to push authority to the information. So which means that actually you shouldn't, as a leader, take all the decisions, but you should trust the ones that are closer to the information. In order to give responsibility, you have to build competence and clarity. You have to make it safe, which means that you have to create psychological safety to build team environment. In order to fix the organization, he stopped thinking about fixing people. He said that you have to fix the environment to let people grow. In order to achieve in the next step the big things, you don't have to do big things immediately. You have to take small steps in order to achieve the big ideas. And in order to be good and get better, people shouldn't avoid mistakes, but they should talk about them openly, and they should be able to take lessons from them. We will come back to these principles, but let's have a look at the practical application of his principles in the real life example. Let's take a look at the picture.
Look, 9 months from the worst to the best crew in the army. It's amazing. But let's have a look at his way of thinking. You at the picture can observe at the moment typical action of submarine. On the board of helicopter, there are special soldiers, special forces, SEALs or whatever, and they have to be delivered to the territory of the enemy. So helicopter can't just drop them on the land, but they can approach to the shore, but not too close, because it may be shot by and noticed by the radars. So in specific moment appears a submarine, takes the soldiers, takes them under the water, and then deliver them close to the shore and let them go and fight, for example. But the thing is that everything what you can see in the picture, it's, you know, when you look at this picture, you see this is very noisy. The submarine is huge, 150 meters long, and the noise of helicopter, and this everything makes that it is easy recognizable by radars on anyone in the neighborhood that something important is happening here. So the challenge is to do it very quickly. And it's very interesting that all this process takes no more than 1 minute. Can you imagine? Empty surface of ocean, silence, suddenly appears submarine, appears helicopter, drop the soldiers, they disappear, silence again, and everything takes less than 1 minute. It's incredible. So they have to train it. Look, captain is in the top of the submarine here. This one in a red coat. He's observing the process and giving the orders. When to start, when to stop, maybe sometimes that it's important to interrupt the process. He has to react. But look what he sees in reality from his point of view. So, frankly speaking, nothing. And this is the position to manage this process? No. Captain says the only person who is close to information and knows how to react on everything is this guy holding a rope in a red jacket on the right side of the picture. This is the person, he should be responsible for everything because he sees everything, he feels everything, he knows how to react, when to stop and when to start. This, of course, captain gives the reports from this soldier via probably walkie-talkie or something like that, but it takes the time, it's difficult, and the information he gets, it's a piece of information, it's just a little, it's not whole true about the process. This person holding the rope is the right person to decide here. But it's not easy to implement this situation in reality. And the captain says 2 conditions must be fulfilled to create the environment for decision making by this person holding the rope. First is his competences, of course, which is easy to train because the thing is quite repetitive, and after a while he must know how to operate with this rope and everything. The more challenging is another condition, which is called clarity. Greg, when you think about clarity, when you achieve your goals, what is clarity of goal?
So clarity for me means that I know what I am going to achieve and I know what is expected from me. Is it the deadline? Is it the way of preparing the report? Is it the tools that I have to use?
It's absolutely clear. This is we call it operational clarity. It's everything about this specific task. When to stop, when to start, what is your responsibility, and so on. But we often forget about another part of clarity, which is called operational clarity, strategic clarity. What is strategic clarity? Is that we know what this process is for. We know where our organization goes right now. We know what is on the horizon of our activity, because in such situations, sometimes there are simple decisions. It's easy to choose the right decision if we know it, but very often in organization, we don't know anything from strategic point of view. And this is the mistake. So the main role of captain, of every leader, is to build the clarity before the action, to be sure that during the action, the person will know exactly what to do and how decide everything.
Yeah. So this is just one of the examples how David Marquet and any leader can achieve a change of the culture in his organization. But how did this particular hero achieve that? First of all, he allowed to have a feeling on influence to everyone, how to achieve the goals. So it was not just an order given how to do the things, but employees and team members have to be able to decide how they are going to achieve the goal. Second thing that he changed the orders into intent. So if you entered the organization of David Marquet, you wouldn't hear anyone giving orders. You would hear both team members and the captain giving intent. Captain was sharing an intent with the team. They were able to give feedback to him. And the team members, team crew, was able to change the intent, to share the intent with the captain, expecting the feedback from him as well. He was building not only the operational and strategic clarity, he built also a clarity of communication, entirely changing the language in which the team operated. He also took care to appreciate and certify competences. Appreciating competences means that the leader can see what the employee or the team member can do well. But certification means that you are giving them the feeling that they know how to do it, and they don't need to ask again for permission in the future. But how to build such environment for accountability, productivity, and well-being in practice? We are going to give you now some hints and some models that you might use and you might find practical in your daily work life. We would like to start with a small role play. Excuse me?
Are we see on the screen at the moment?
Sorry?
I don't see our view. Yeah, okay. Okay. I think maybe there are technical issues, but it's okay.
Sorry, just are there any technical issues, Sebastian?
Everything is perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So we will just start with a small role play. Maciek will play my boss, and I will play an employee. And just to give you a context, the context is following. We are a training company. I am working as an employee. I'm taking care of the large client, and suddenly a client requires a discount. I'm going as an employee to my boss to ask what I should do, and we will play for you 3 scenarios. Just wait a second, there is a chat. No issues. Okay, thank you. We will play 3 scenarios, and we would like to ask you to watch for accountability, well-being, and productivity in action. Not everything will be perfect. We will play 3 scenarios. After each of the scenarios, we will ask you for your opinion, how it went. So once again, as an employee, I'm coming to Maciej, my boss, and I have an issue to him. So let's start the session. Hi, Maciej.
Hi, Greg. What's up?
So listen, I'm coming to you with this client, Roblo. Do you remember?
Yeah, sure. As I remember, this contract should be signed today.
Yes, exactly. So we were about to sign the contract today, but listen, they just called me and told me, Greg, we will not sign the contract if we don't receive 10% discount.
10%? Are they crazy? 10%?
Yeah, so I wanted to tell me what to do.
Of course, you can't give them this discount.
Of
No,
course,
no.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You have to refuse. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, boss.
Thank you.
I will call them and will tell them that we are not giving them this discount. Thank you very
course.
much.
Thank you.
So this is the scenario one, and we would like to run the quick poll. How do you feel the employee was engaged in this situation? On a scale from 1 to 5, how much does the employee feel engaged in the decision-making process? Please answer the question. Once again, observing the relation between employee and the boss, on scale 1 to 5, how much does the employee feel engaged? 1 is totally not engaged, and 5 is very much engaged with the ownership of a decision.
Engaged means this, he feels the influence on this process.
So I'm wondering if we have any answers. Okay. So you have guessed there is lack of engagement, and honestly, I was not engaged because I received what I wanted. I wanted my boss to give me a solution.
Okay.
And I was even advised to go directly to the customers and say no.
So I got feedback. I wasn't very engaging leader in this scenario. So I'm going to change it.
Okay.
Look now.
Thank you for the answers.
Thank you for the answers. I'm going to do my job better.
Okay.
Let's start again.
So we will play the scenario 2. Now we will behave differently. Hi, Maciek.
Hi, Greg. What's up?
So I'm coming to you with this client, Roblo. You remember we were about to sign the contract.
Yeah, I thought it should be signed already.
Yes, yes, but they just called me and told me that they need 10% discount.
10%?
Otherwise, they will not sign the contract.
Are they crazy?
So
10%?
What should I do? You wouldn't give them 10%.
This is your decision, of course. You know, we build such culture in our organization that you decide, but be careful.
Okay, I will be careful, but from what I see, you don't advise to give them 10%.
I advise nothing. It is your choice, but I said also be careful.
Okay, I will be careful. Thank you very much. I will call them and will tell them not to get the 10% discount.
I think it's a great decision not to give them.
Thank you, boss. You helped me a lot.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. This is the scenario 2, and now we will ask for the poll again. On a scale 1 to 5, how much does the employee feel engaged in the decision-making process? Not engaged, being a 1, or in the middle, or maybe he's fully engaged and taking responsibility for his actions. We kindly ask you now to provide the answers, and whenever the answers are ready, please show them. I think we'll see them in a moment. And we appreciate all the participants that are actively engaged in this discussion.
We're waiting for results.
All right. So 2 of you have replied that neither engaged nor disengaged. And 1 answer says that it was a full engagement and feeling of decision ownership. That's interesting.
Okay, so let's come back to Greg. Greg, how did you feel as employee in this scene? Did you take this decision?
Well, I have a feeling that I have arranged what I wanted. So I came to you to help me decide. So I actually left with the decision,
But I didn't give you the any solutions.
Well, you didn't give me solutions. You told me that I should decide, but you told me be careful and that I shouldn't give 10%. So
You're too smart. You're too
okay,
smart.
but actually, it was quite a tricky question, and honestly, I left with the decision, but I have a feeling that it was the decision that you helped me undertake, telling me exactly what you think about it.
I was after training. I had a training, and I knew that I can't
Yeah.
give you the solutions, but in fact, I gave you the solution.
So despite you told me, listen, this is your decision, you told me you wouldn't give this 10%. Okay, so let's go to the third scenario, in which we will play it absolutely differently, and let's see how the boss changes after this training.
Okay.
Hello, Maciek.
Hi, Greg. What's up?
Oh, you know, I'm coming to you with this client, Roblo. They were supposed to sign the contract today, but they just called me and told me that they will not sign if we don't give them 10% discount.
It should be said, I'm surprised that it's so late, but hey, what do you see in this situation?
Well, I can see that they are bargaining for some lower cost. You know, the market situation has changed after, you know, pandemia and the recent crisis. So they are doing like everyone. They are looking for cost savings.
What do you think about it?
Well, I think we have worked with this client for quite a while. So I don't think they are tricking me. They are trying to cheat me, and they are trying to get some discount because we want to serve them as a provider. So I think they have a real issue.
So clarifying, you think this is not a trick of negotiation?
No, no.
They really suffer at this
Yes,
moment.
they really need this discount.
Okay. So what would you do in such situations? What could you do? What is on the table? What options?
Well, actually, I wanted to ask you what I should do, but since you asked me for the options, I can see from this client and from what we have prepared in the offer that there are some elements where we could actually go down with the cost. We could review the materials that we were printing normally. We could not print them. We could review whether all the trainings should be in presence in the room, or maybe some of them could be online. And if we have to train them in the room, maybe we could rent some other rooms, not in this prestigious hotel. So I think if I calculate this offer, maybe I will come down to 5% discount. And you know, maybe that's the option that I could use to show them that we are trying to keep them as a customer.
So as I understood well, you want to recalculate everything, and it's possible there is a chance to find 5% of savings.
Yes, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 4. I would definitely give it a try.
So what do you intend to do?
Well, as I told you, I intend to calculate that. I will contact them, and I will additionally ask them if they could prolong with us the contract, because if we do them a favor, maybe they will make some more orders in the future. So that's my idea.
Okay, it's great. So let me know when it happens. And if you need any help, just call me. You know where you can find me.
Thank you. Thank
Great.
you.
Super.
Yeah, you helped me. So I will call them and I will let you know how it goes.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was scenario 3. And please launch the poll so that we can see the answers. How, on a scale 1 to 5, was the employee feeling engaged in the decision-making process?
Okay.
Thank you very much for the answers. Oh, we have 100% of the answers that it was a full engagement and feeling of decision ownership, which is actually, that's how I felt in this situation. Because you didn't tell me what to do.
Decision was yours.
The decision was mine. You helped me find the decision inside my resources, and I could decide myself what to do.
Look, and it was very safe for me because I could participate in the process of thinking of Greg. So I could, if something goes wrong, I could react. For example, I could interrupt and say, no, Greg, you didn't think about it.
But you didn't interrupt me.
Because everything was safe. Everything goes, because Greg is in fact close to information and he knows how to conduct this project. And I'm the person who accompany him in his logical way of thinking. That's it.
Okay, so what did we do? We just went through the model that we would like to present it to you very quickly. If you look at the model, it's called Ladder of Leadership. You will find it easily researching the internet, but it's one of the many coaching discussions that an employee can run with the boss can run with an employee, or employee with employee can run in order to give full empowerment and responsibility to the person that is closer to the information. If we go from step 1 to the second, I asked Maciek to tell me what to do. He didn't tell me what to do in the last scenario. He just asked me, what do I see? After I said to Maciej, answering this question, which was very safe for me, I said what I see. Then Maciek asked me what I thought. Then after expressing what I thought, he asked me what options I had. Only then I was asked about my intentions, what I would do with this information. And I still felt safe to take the responsibility of having it my own responsibility to take a decision and intention, because my boss was helping me to feel safe and appreciated my competences and my information that I had at hand in order to take decision myself.
We come to that shorter. It's often mistake that after question, what do you see, appears immediately question, so what is your solution? But it doesn't work. Look, every question is a one step higher towards responsibility. Only the last question, I intend, the Greg took responsibility for his plans to do something in this project. Before, it was just what I would do or what I could do, what is the option. And that's the secret of this model.
Being cautious of time, we have 7 minutes to the end of our time. So Maciej, I think we should go through the models that we prepared for the audience.
Yes, very shortly. Why it's important to implement such environment of well-being and productivity. The first reason is health, because if we look at this model, job control versus job demand, every organization, in every organization we can measure the level of pressure demand. It may be low or high. Also, in every organization we can measure the level of influence people on the thing they are doing. So, so we have a graph here with with 4 fields. Left side up is the field when the demand is very high. So people feel a pressure, and it's very low influence on the things they are doing. The influence on their health. This is according to very deep researches made in the world. Look what is happening in such environment. People live 15% shorter than the people than the average age when normally people lives. But the most exciting result of this research is in the field when people feel high pressure. At the same moment, they have a high influence on the things they are doing. In such situation, they live longer. This is great discovery. Our body likes the pressure, but only in case we have influence. So life in organization may be really healthy. This is the first reason. It's worth to implement this environment of well-being and productivity. The second comes from the market. What I wanted you to show now, this is the picture. Only I know what about this picture. It's taken like 100 years ago.
In a factory.
In a factory in United States. We can see people doing some simple things. It's not very technologically advanced. They have to do repetitive things. It was challenge for them probably when they started to learn how to do that. But at the moment, it's just simple things. They do all the time the same, after several hours of work, they have expected results. It doesn't require any involvement of brain, of creativity. I can absolutely imagine that every woman in the front of the picture may think at the same time what they are planning to do after work, or what is happening now with my boyfriend. It's possible because it's not connected with this manual work. But only one person on the left side of this picture, the one writing something probably is the person who is doing different things. This is kind of storytelling, so we can. It may be not true, but probably this is the manager of these people. And what is he doing? He's making decision. What if we don't follow our plan? What to do if the man who is at the moment looking at the lens of camera, because he's just looking at the camera at the moment, so he's doing nothing. Probably he will be delighted in his work. So what to do in such situation? So this kind of work is different, requires decision making, requires creativity. Let's call this first kind of work, let's call blue work, red work. So these repetitive things, automatic things, we call it red work. And the kind of work the manager is doing in this picture is a blue work, requires creativity, requires making this decision. It's different. So when we look at the organization, which were established 100 years ago or something like that, but in fact we have a legacy of this organization until now, they were creating in a special way. What you see what you saw in this picture, this is I colored the heads of people looking at the kind of work they are doing. All were doing in red, only the boss was painted on blue. But organization was created like this, that the top management was responsible for creative work. The rest followers just had to follow the rules. And when we go further down of this company, we have also customers. And customers, as you can notice, are also painted on red. Why? Because the process of selling was for years very simple. Only the person who has something to sell had to meet someone who want to buy something. They negotiated a while the price, and then deal was done. It's complicated, but also simple. It doesn't require any creativity, but it changed in the end of 90s, because we as a Mimecast, we got a very important tool to our hands. It's internet, and we connected smartphones and laptops to the internet, and customers now are very well prepared to the process of buying something. They have a lot of information. They calculated everything. They know what is available in the neighborhood and in entire world even. So they may be very well prepared, and it pushes the people of sales that they had to be creative also, very well educated, very well prepared, and they have to be ready on challenges of customers. So the process of selling became to be rather business than selling. We call it now that we call it sometimes even art of business, because it's so difficult. So because of customers, also people of sales started to be very creative, and they pushes other departments of organization to be also creative to respond to the needs of the clients. So modern organization became very blue, has to become very blue and creative to keep the standards of the market at the moment. But it's impossible to tell people to be creative, to order people to be creative. Only what we can do is to create an environment in which they will want to be creative.
And how to create such environment? Just a quick reminder of the 6 principles: pushing authority to the decision, making sure that there are competence and clarity in order to give responsibility, create psychological safety, fix the environment, not the people. So build the environment for people to strive, make sure that small steps can bring to big ideas, and not be afraid to talk about errors. But just for the wrap up of our discussion, we would like to tell you how to do it. We teach organizations how to build a culture of accountability. We teach them how to learn conscious leadership, to make sure that leaders control their own ego and the leadership is based on empowerment, how to establish psychological safety, and how to improve decision-making process and risk management in order to create the organizations where decisions are made, where the information is, and errors are acceptable based on the critical risk policy. And what is actually accountability culture is how the organizations react in the complex and volatile environment, and make sure that the ones who are closer information are able to decide. It creates leaders, not followers, and it creates environment where respect and appreciation are at the forefront. This is actually what we call well-being by design, and the benefits for each organizations are following: that the decisions are made faster, micromanagement is significantly reduced, teams take more responsibility, employees are more open and more likely to speak up, and team members develop a team that creates leaders, not followers. Where well-being and productivity can work together and can increase the productivity of each organization. Just a quick testimony, I will take it. One of our clients says that effectiveness of his 800 people team has increased by 10% thanks to accountability culture. So he created well-being and increased productivity. He says that it is as if I have gained 80 additional employees. This is the CEO of Scania. And how we do it, how to start, we can start it by iterative trainings, or we can start it by your way. We are providing a specific immersive simulation for teams and leaders, where we teach people in an immersed environment where people take roles in the submarine and helicopter, and they play roles, they carry out mission. This is not the computer simulation, computer game. This is a simulation for teams and leaders, and we as trainers facilitate that to teach companies in the areas of responsibility and communication. So just to finalize what we covered today, we covered well-being and productivity understanding. We covered key principles on how to build an organization that can have a well-being at their design. We shared with you a couple of concepts, models, and tools that you can use. And we showed you also how to start and where to focus. If we can support you, we are happy to provide you with workshops and use of our VR technology simulation. We can deliver psychometric tools to enable analytics of your teams, trainings, and consultancy and micro-learnings. If you would like to take this time for the wrap-up to ask any questions, comments, or on what you would like to learn, we are happy to answer them if time allows. So we are open for any Q&A from the Zoom poll. And if there are no questions, then we are happy at your disposal later on. You can contact us at any time, and we are happy to provide you with our expertise on how to implement well-being by design in your organizations.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maciek and Greg. It's very interesting, actually, what you've discussed. Sometimes, I mean, we look at most problems in organizations, and you can actually boil it down to one thing only, which is leadership. Right? So because we talked about all these good things, let's give, autonomy, let's give people a space to express their opinions. The leader is actually
Totally agree.
Or break. This is the actual problem, I think, in all organizations and in all situations. Is that
Yeah.
the point? Yes. So, I mean, we're assuming here that the leaders they're good, but they don't know what they're doing, or they need some support. However, if there's a destructive leader in place, then and here's the question, right? So then, what is probably the best approach to that?
Yeah. So I fully agree with you that it's about leaders, but it's not only about destructive leaders. It's also about leaders that think that they know the best. And they might have best intentions. But if they have learned leadership 10 years ago, then looking at the volatile market right now and that complexity and volatility of what is at stake to manage, all the leaders have to unlearn of these bad previous habits. So it's not about being destructive, but about being agile and being able to take new possibilities of managing teams and creating teams that will work without orders and without hierarchical direction.
It's about
But-
sensitivity of changes, sensitivity for changes around. If everything changes around, it's simple that also I have to change my approach. Otherwise, I'll be from different world.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. But then on the other hand, I mean, we want to leave people with a dilemma, want them something to think of. On the other end, there are actually individuals who prefer that the leaders would make the decisions. They don't want to take the risk.
Sure.
It goes to personality, right? So people who are high on neuroticism, for example, they don't want to take any risk. Some of them are reluctant actually to take any initiative at all. Say, if it's not broken, let's do whatever the boss wants. We keep him happy. Everything is good. So we have to work on both of these ends of the spectrum, more or less, in order to make things actually happen. What's your thoughts on that?
We have to show to the people that there is possible another solution, another approach for work, because it's simple. I can follow your orders and it's easy. But then I go to my home and I say to my family, "Oh, this work is so boring." So on the other hand, it is very obvious that it's easier to follow the rules. But on the other hand, it's very frustrating. But that's why this is the role of the leader to build this awareness that we can work differently. And this 30% of life we spend at our work, it may be nice. It may be connected with well-being. Absolutely.
Well, that's I think an interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
I could only add to that each leader has to adapt their style. So it's not about just engaging people and not giving orders. If the situation requires, the leader has to have different tools at their hand, and they have to be adaptable and agile to it.
Yeah. I think they have the intention to be leaders, not just like positional leaders, but actual real leaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate all your input. That's been quite an interesting dialogue between both of you. I enjoyed I'm sure, like I'm speaking on behalf of everyone else, the role plays. Accountability is also important. Nobody wants to be responsible for something that doesn't go well, right? It is actually very tricky. We try to make it simple. We humans, we like to simplify things, but I think reality is complex enough that it needs real leaders who can actually navigate through that complexity and create the environment that would help people strive, in terms of both productivity and well-being. So with that in mind, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time. It's been very educating.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation, and we are at your service whenever our knowledge can be used.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Have
you,
a good
everyone.
day.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.